Welcome to the Breath of God. This is a channel dedicated to studying the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. My name is Jeff Lewis and I'm broadcasting here in Carrollton, Texas. And today we're going to talk about the almond tree. But first I wanted to mention, over the last 50 days, we've reached over 52,000 people with the gospel of Jesus and Bible teaching. Therefore, I've opened up a secure online link for secure giving at the top of my YouTube page. If you've been touched in some way or feel moved to support this online ministry, which I am launching, please give at the online link. Thank you. So the almond tree. This is really cool. How God appoints his different people into office. So you have the story of Aaron and the story of Jeremiah the prophet, the priest and the prophet. He marked both of them with the almond tree. So the almond tree is about leadership. It's about a government anointing and appointing by God. So it's really cool. When you get to Numbers chapter 17, the Israelites are arguing. They're fighting over who's going to be the leader. And there's this constant grumbling and infighting. And God shows up and said, we're going to solve the matter. So each man take their name and write it on their staff. And then take the staff and set it in the tent of meeting in front of the ark. And the next day, whoever rod blossoms, they are the man that I have chosen to represent the priesthood. So they do this. They all get out their staffs, they write their names on them, and they set them before the ark. And God had said, whichever one blossoms. Well, when they went the next morning, Aaron's rod had not only budded, it had blossomed, and it had produced almonds in a matter of a few hours. And God clearly designated Aaron as the leader. And that's what God will do. He will mark a leader supernaturally. It's impossible for an almond to be produced overnight. But that's what happened in the case of Aaron's rod. It was a dead almond branch, a stick, lifeless. And God, by his resurrection power, produced fruit in Aaron's life. And that's what you'll see too, is you will see fruit. Almonds is, like I said, a fruit, a manifestation of God's goodness, God's character. And you also see this is acceleration. The almond branch represents an accelerated process. God will work in a supernatural, accelerated way. And this will mark a person if God has called them into a place of leadership. And it'll happen for real in history. It'll be a supernatural marking. So that's one example. And that's with the priesthood. Now, when we look at Jeremiah the prophet, if you go to Jeremiah chapter 1, you'll see Jeremiah. And God called Jeremiah, started communicating to him, and Jeremiah is like, I'm too young, I don't know how to speak, I never went to Bible college. I made that one up. But Jeremiah is giving these reasons, why he cannot step into this office as a prophet. So God says, Jeremiah, what do you see? He says, I see the branch of an almond tree. And the Lord goes, you have seen correctly. So what happened in the case of Jeremiah is Jeremiah saw supernaturally. He saw what God saw. There was a ocular fusion. His eyes with God's eyes. And he could see what God could see in a vision. And this is how God will mark a prophet. He will change their vision. He'll give them ability to see. It's a supernatural seeing. And we see Jeremiah's entire book, it's 52 chapters, he prophesies the exile to Babylon and the time that they would be there. And he prophesied the new covenant in Jesus' blood. Jeremiah's supernatural seeing came to pass over time. You see this because he was called. God touched his eyes and gave him the ability to see things from God's point of view. And this was an indication of his leadership. And God even said, I am watching to see that my word is fulfilled. God watched over the words that Jeremiah spoke from heaven and ensured that they came to pass. Not a single word that Jeremiah spoke fell to the ground. And this is a mark of the almond tree. It is the mark of leadership, and we see it both in the priestly office of Aaron and the prophetic office of Jeremiah. So if God has been laying on your heart the almond tree, this may be an indication of God's calling you to a place of leadership and manifesting that in different ways, either supernaturally through sight or some kind of manifestation in an accelerated manner, an impossible manner in reality, in history. And this is the meaning of the almond tree. I hope this teaching blessed you. And you can also see the marks of God's calling on a person's life or on your own life. If you pay attention, there is fruit. Jesus said, by their fruit you will recognize them. Thank you for listening today at the Breath of God. And remember, his breath is our calling.